There's a young lady, I say young lady, she's probably 52, 53 years old, who's been a part of beauty control. Anybody familiar with beauty controls like Mary Kay or some of these others? I met her in California. She was part of that workshop. In fact, she was one of those ones that gave me her coaching. She took advantage of the opportunity in a huge way. She said, I'll be in Dallas for my beauty control national convention, and I will have the top 5 people in my downline with me in the hotel. Would you mind coming to the hotel and doing my coaching session that I paid for at the hotel with all of us? I said, sure. Well, one of the girls in her group has made literally hundreds of thousands of dollars in beauty control. She's been doing it for years. And she said, the problem that I have these days is probably the same problem that people are having at work, and that is I keep hiring these people, and they want to walk in the door with their hand out, give me a check. And that's what they're looking for is a check. What they don't want to do is the work. And I said, okay, I get that. And I understand that when you're in an MLM, you've got a dual problem. And the first is you're trying to recruit everybody you can, because the more people you got in your downline, the better chance of success. The other problem you have is you don't want a bunch of people you got to babysit and coach. You want a bunch of people who are going to get busy, who understand a work ethic. She said, right. I said, so tell me a story from your childhood, and I'll teach you how in one story to both attract hard workers and repel lazy people. And she went, right. I said, just tell me any story from your childhood, I don't care what it is. She said, I remember getting up on Saturday mornings. Now, I'm going to tell you the story the way that I tell it, rather than the way that she told it, because the way she told it took 14 minutes. So here's my rendition of her story. We used to get up on Saturday mornings, and it was so cool on Saturday mornings. Dad would gather us, all 6 of us kids, on the cornrows. And we'd line up, and all we could see at the other end was Dad. And we each of us have our own cornrow. And Dad would stand at the other end with this big jar of pennies. And our job was to run down the cornrow and pull as many weeds as we could. And as soon as we got to Dad, he would count the weeds out and give us pennies for every one. And I'd stuff my pockets and turn around and go like that the other way. And I remember doing this every Saturday for years of my life. Now, you got to remember I'm old, so pennies were worth a lot of money then. But we'd get to go to town and get ice cream or go to the movies or something like that, and we had a pocket full of pennies. It was so cool to know that I earned that money myself. And that was pretty rewarding, to know that I did the work and I got the money. But here's what was really cool. I remember when I was like 13 or 14 years old, and I'm on the school bus and we're driving to school, and we passed by this row of cornfields. And this guy in the back of the bus is talking to his buddy, and he goes, man, old man Smith has kept the best field in the county. I wish our fields looked like that. She said, my heart just swelled with pride. I didn't have to tell him how many pennies or how many dime movies I went to. I didn't have to tell him any of that. I just knew that they looked at the work that I'd done, and I had reason to be proud of my hard work. And it paid off. I want you to know that when you join my team, we work hard. And sometimes it's just like that. You're going to feel like you've run the entire corn road doing nothing but pulling out a few weeds. You get to the end for a handful of points. And you turn around and you do it again, and you get to the end for a handful of points. And you turn around and you do it again for a handful of points. And today, those pennies don't add up to much. But let me tell you something. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 25 years like I've been in beauty control, when you've been in beauty control 25 years, and you know that your annual residual income is in the 6 figures, whether you get out of bed tomorrow or you don't, you look back at that cornfield with pride and you go, that's a field that I built. That's what my hard work paid into. It looked like pennies at the time, but now it's priceless. She went, tell that again, I do before that. Okay, so that's a story, that's not dramatic, it's not emotionally appealing necessarily, it's not something that just grabs you by your socks and shakes you. But it might be. I mean, for someone it might be. For someone who's done that kind of work, that's a big deal. So the stories can be drawn from anywhere. As long as they're real, the emotion that you have in them from the moment that you live them is going to be expressed in them. You can't avoid that. Part of what we're going to get into later when we talk about story crafting as opposed to just story selection will be, how is it that you pick a story to make sure that it works with the audience you're talking to? We'll dig into that in a little bit. Ready?